think Britain feels broken to a lot of people. But I also feel that that isn't a reason to go with Tommy Robinson. And if you push for instant answers, you end up with something, that becomes like fascism.
I'd say what's the most depressing thing is that the elite class and the mainstream media are so determined to ignore what's really going on that they intend to not only prescribe Tommy Robinson as a terrorist, but completely lie about his motivation. And there are no two worse human beings in that space than Rory Stewart and Alastair Campbell, right? Can we all agree on that, right? They are the two worst in this space, and there's some real competition. But Tommy Robinson has totally destroyed Rory Stewart over his appearance on Newsnight, writing, "This mealy-mouthed, pretentious, silver spoon-fed, out-of-touch Tory boy academic, Rory Stewart, has Muslim friends who openly admit apostates from the Islamic faith should be murdered. And I'm the so-called far-right Nazi and extremist for daring to speak openly and honestly about Islam. Weak men make for hard times. Rory Stewart is an apologist for backward Islam. He's a proponent of the nonsense word Islamophobia. He's also an extremely weak man ideologically, academically, politically, spiritually, and physically. We don't need leaders like this in the UK." Now, this is what Rory Stewart had to say that sparked that reaction. If you're enjoying what we're doing here on Outspoken, please consider joining our thriving community over on Substack, www.outspoken.live. You can sign up completely for free, but Substack is so important to me. It is a free speech platform. It protects me from big tech cancellation. Plus, you get to communicate directly with me. Head on over www.outspoken.live, enter your email address, and sign up today.
I think there's some very good reasons for people to be angry. I think Britain feels broken to a lot of people. But I also feel that that isn't a reason to go with Tommy Robinson. I think there's a way of saying a lot of things aren't working, but to still think the government may be incompetent, may sometimes seem overly politically correct, focused on the wrong issues, but that's not a reason to embrace a convicted criminal with what I see as very, very dangerous views. And this is something that conversations with my friends in the US. More and more people are now being sort of Trump curious. And when I say why, they say, well, all these things are wrong. Look at all these things the Democrats did. Nobody's listening to us. Sure, but this isn't the solution. Going for this more and more extreme, and increasingly people getting impatient with the rule of law, getting impatient with anybody talking about process, anybody talking about doing things properly. Everyone wants instant answers. And if you push for instant answers, you end up with something that becomes like fascism, because it becomes about power. I'm going to sort this. And then everybody says, well, I like that person because they've sorted this. And when you say, well, but how did they sort this? You know, if I'm talking about Trump, how about the corruption? How about what he's doing to the courts? How about what he's doing to Congress, right? People will say, well, I don't mind about that. He's getting it done. So somewhere in this conversation, yes, of course, people have got every reason to be angry with people like me, partly because we're in a very unequal society. Very, very unequal society in which there's a lot of privilege and a lot of wealth and a lot of things that particularly many, many white communities in Britain can't access. But that's also true for many minority ethnic communities in Britain. It's not a just society, but that's not a reason to go with the extremes, I think.
Well, you just went with the extreme. You just accused Tommy Robinson of fascism. As Leo Kirst said, the idea that Tommy Robinson is a fascist is laughable. He's anti-authoritarian and isn't trying to create an ethno-state. Tommy's movement is probably the most positive outlet for the understandable and necessary rise in nativist sentiment in Britain. And then, of course, Alastair Campbell, that war criminal, got involved. And he said his name is Stephen. Hashtag never trust a name changer unless they're trans or spooks. Ah, there's a thought. Tommy owned him, though. Not today, Satan. Take my name out of your filthy mouth, you filthy war criminal. Because, I mean, the idea that Rory Stewart goes on Newsnight with all that's going on, completely unprompted, and by the way, without any pushback from the presenter, because of course it's completely acceptable to go on the BBC and describe Tommy Robinson as a fascist, someone responsible for importing fascism to the UK. That's his priority. Again, it's completely warped. But first, as we get older, you notice it. After a cold, a hard workout, even a long week, recovery just isn't as quick as it used to be, right? That bounce back factor matters. And it turns out the secret isn't luck, it's stem cells, your body's built-in repair crew. With age, that system slows down. Fewer cells, weaker signals, slower recovery. That's exactly why Qualia created Qualia Stem Cell. Think of it this way. Your cells are powerful. Qualia Stem Cell helps keep them that way. It's crafted with nature's heavy lifters, sea buckthorn, royal jelly, and more to support your body's natural repair system so you can keep moving, healing, and thriving. You don't have to accept slowing down. This is about supporting better aging by reactivating the systems that help you bounce back. And it's refreshingly simple. You take it just 4 days a month. So if you've ever felt like your body just doesn't bounce back like it used to, whether it's after a tough workout, getting sick, or just the wear and tear of life, this is for you. Qualia Stem Cell was designed to support your body's natural repair systems, helping you heal, recover, and keep going strong. And right now, you can try it for up to 50% off at qualialife.com/Dan. And here's a bonus. Use the code Dan for an additional 15% off your order. So that's QUALIA life.com/Dan. Your body's built to repair itself. Qualia just helps it do it that better. And a big thanks, by the way, to Qualia for sponsoring this episode of Outspoken. But now, back to the show.
It's, you know what, doing your show, you forced me to watch people like James O'Brien. You forced me to watch people like Rory Stewart, and they just make my blood boil. It's so pathetic that they use Tommy Robinson as a target, as a whipping boy for absolutely everything. Yeah, and the weird thing is, if you say to someone who goes, yeah, but Tommy Robinson is racist, and you say to them, well, just tell me one racist thing he's ever said. And he hasn't. You can't think of anything. You can't find anything. But it's just this they just repeat it non-stop, because then everybody goes, yeah, Tommy Robinson, he's a racist. But no one really bothers to find out for themselves what he's really going on about. There are a lot of people in the media who are completely, they're judged so incorrectly because nobody actually listens to what they're saying. And not just the media, and in the world leaders, some world leaders that are demonized and removed, replaced with puppets. They're always saying the right things, but everyone just assumes that because someone says, oh no, they were a racist and want to, kill all migrants, which they don't. It's the same with Tommy Robinson. And the poor bloke, I mean, he's done so much good over the years, especially for the rape gangs and all of that. He's chucked in prison every 5 bloody minutes, or he's in court. And people like Rory Stewart just sit there, it's so pathetic. Rory Stewart, I can't ever forget the time, although I've kind of forgotten what he actually said, but he was in Parliament and they were talking about some war that might ensue or something like that. And I remember he sat there and said something like, well, we'll just tell them to go away, or something like that. I mean, it was just pathetic. I mean, why was this man ever in Parliament? Is he in Parliament still? No, I don't think he is.
God.
Just a media whore.
He's a media whore. But this is the problem. Yeah. It's people like him who destroyed the Conservative Party because, of course, he was only a Conservative in name only. He's basically a Green now. I mean, that is how hard left he is. But in this country, we were gaslit into believing that Rory Stewart represented real conservatism, which was obviously like a total joke. But, of course, Carol, we know what they're trying to do with Tommy Robinson, and there is this huge moment coming on Tuesday morning. We're going to be covering it live on Outspoken, because this is potentially the British government being able to say forevermore, if Tommy Robinson is found guilty in this completely spurious terror trial, you know, that he's a terrorist. And then forevermore, that will be how the deep state and the mainstream media are able to dismiss him. Oh, he's a terrorist. Just like now they say, oh, he's a criminal. You know, it's sick.
It is sick, and these are the kind of laws they will use Tommy Robinson as a precedent, as for anybody else who refuses to give them the code for their phone and reveal their sources. And once you're
for no
you're
reason,
labeled,
Carol, he was suspected of nothing. You know, he just turned up at the border. He was traveling to Spain, where he lives. You know, he had cash because he's debanked in the United Kingdom. Like,
exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If I just went up to a checkpoint and given the journalistic sources on my phone, should I just have to give my phone up for absolutely no reason whatsoever? No suspicion of anything? And if I don't, I'm a terrorist?
I think you do now. I think that is allowed now. I think that is a law that's already been put into place. And you know, that could happen to you, it could happen to me. Anybody who has any influence and disagrees with the globalist message and the governments will be locked up and will be demonized, just like Tommy Robinson. He is the poster boy for all of that, for what is coming. And people should support him more than they do. But everybody just hangs around the media demonizing him even more. I mean, it is sick. It's sick.
It is. It's really sick and twisted. But as I say, Tommy's so confident about Tuesday. And my God, I hope he's right, because the case was a complete slam dunk for him and his team. The problem is I don't share that confidence, because I know how much, I mean, the fact he's even on trial here shows you how much the state want to be able to lock him up for this. And it's not because it's a huge amount of prison time. This is more like up to 3 months and a fine. It's not about that. It's about the British state being able to say forevermore, Tommy Robinson is a terrorist. I honestly think that's what they want, and it is a huge concern.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.